Yo, Terence Bud Crawford finally responds and reacts to Errol Spence Jr., who just defeated Danny Garcia in a dominant fashion. Terence Crawford reacts. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this video. Check it out. And also smash the like button. We working. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Look at Danny Garcia's face. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Cash App is $Boxing Ego. You see the man Errol Spence came out looking fresh. Coming off the car wreck, a lot of people had questions. How would Errol Spence look? How would he deal with the heavy hands, or as Keith Thurman calls it, the Philadelphia bricks from Danny Garcia? And Errol answered all those questions. Danny, he didn't do anything wrong. He was game. He showed massive heart. He has power, good body attack. He was trying to win the battle of jabs, but he was losing the battle of the jabs. They had a great crowd, 16,000 in a pandemic, but Errol Spence was the star of the night. True underdog comeback performance. Now, you guys see on the screen, that's Terence Bud Crawford. He was live in attendance for Spence Garcia, as you guys could see. And a lot of people in the media, they're trying to push this narrative of Crawford and Errol Spence. My thing is, it's a good fight. They're with two different networks. There's inherent issues making that fight. You see Mayweather just announced today he's fighting against Logan Paul in an exhibition. Money talks. So I don't know the real value of Crawford Spence as far as a fight. You know, fans want to see it. But usually big fights happen when the pot makes sense and there's no promotional hurdles. Now, there is one thing that Terence Crawford could really do if he wants a fight like that, that makes this process probably 10 times easier. And that's if he was aligned with PBC. This is why people, like, I don't know why Crawford doesn't really seem to have gotten the memo, but this is why people question his decision in 2018, I think, when he signed an extension. People were like, you should have explored your options. And it was for this very reason, because at the end of the day, people want to see the best versus the best. And Spence is a great fight for anybody, including Terence Crawford. So it is what it is. We'll get to Terence Crawford and what he had to say right now. So the PBC, they posted this particular graphic that you guys see on the screen, and Terence Crawford reshared it. This is, a repost on his Instagram story. You see 17 hours ago, and Terence Crawford says, well, let me read the graphic. The graphic says Fox PBC, so they had their graphic designer, pin this up, make this graphic, and it says Fox PBC, who's next for Errol Spence? And it was a slide. One graphic, the first graphic was Crawford and Errol Spence, an imaginary graphic of the two. And the second one was Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao. So they were basically just asking the fans, who should Errol Spence, after beating Danny Garcia, fight? Terence Crawford obviously liked it, and he reposted it to his Instagram story, his social media feed. And he also commented on the post, which you see at the bottom part of this particular screen cap. Terence Crawford on his verified Instagram says, I love this energy. And then he flexed. Now, in boxing, you have different things at play. Like, some people genuinely just want to see the fight because it's two quality fighters, but you also have agenda-driven media and also fans who are definitely anti-PBC, and you're seeing probably a little bit of both. Genuine fans who just want to see Crawford and Spence fight, but then you're also, again, you have agenda-driven old media people who are trying to, create this, I guess, pressure. But I don't see it like that. Realistically, Terence Crawford, his mandatory Sean Porter, the Errol fight's great. Errol is the cash cow. Based on the contradictions and, confusing statements from Terence Crawford, and beyond that, what Errol has been doing in his career recently, the comeback story, the pay-per-view. We don't know the numbers for the Danny Garcia fight, but we know the pay-per-view numbers for his other fights with Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter, all better than Terence Crawford's particular numbers. This is just part of the game. So Crawford has made statements that he will not concede and pretty much do less than 50-50, or if it's going to be a 60-40 split that Errol said publicly sounded about right, but we got to negotiate, then he said there will be no fight. So, I'm not really understanding Terence Crawford's angle. And if Terence Crawford is not willing to come to the PBC or come to the table reasonably, then, there's a likelihood that this fight couldn't happen or doesn't happen when the fans want it to. And I think in that equation, when you don't have the leverage, you don't really have many fighters on your side with ESPN that they can make for you. You have your promoter who's recently thrown you under the bus and said he's washing his hands clean of you and handing your project over to his stepson if you do stay. Your contract ends in October, so I think there's only kind of one real easy fix to this whole scenario. But any way you slice it, I don't see Terence Crawford being the A side. You have to also look, this picture that I have on this screenshot is Crawford at Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia's fight. Keep in mind, during fight week, which you guys will see in the video right after this video from me speaking, you'll see that Terence Crawford on fight week decided to go on his Instagram live, and he was questioning Danny Garcia's resume, saying basically Errol Spence only fought one notable person. He was saying that Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, they lose at the big level. And it's just really confusing stuff. But no matter what Terence Crawford says, I don't see him as being the A side in this particular equation. Let me know. You guys watched the video. This is Terence Crawford, public domain on his Instagram. He's up for the fight. He says, we're going to show the world. I love this energy. But we can't omit the fact that you have to make sure the business is taken care of too. And if Errol Spence is the A side, which I still haven't heard anyone explain how Terence Crawford is the A side. He keeps talking about his accomplishments and accolades from 135 and 140, which were great. People gave him credit for being undisputed or beating this and that guy. But the division in which you want to fight Errol, he's done more. He's doing the bigger numbers. He's doing the bigger crowds. Errol in the pandemic did 16,000. I got an email from PBC. The PR people, it was 16,102 people, I believe, in Texas during a pandemic. Meanwhile, Crawford's last fight with Brooke had no crowd, and it was, part of the top ranked ESPN bubble. So there was no spectators. There's no crowd. Crawford in Omaha, he's done some crowds right around that 14, 15, 16, maybe non-pandemic though. Errol's doing that in a pandemic. So you can imagine the boxing venues, they could pack out 80,000. Who knows if we weren't going through this whole Rona episode, what the actual attendance would be if we weren't social distancing right now. So it's pretty much cut and dry that Errol Spence is the A side. If the fight happens, it happens. Crawford has said a lot of confusing things like, oh, I'm not worried about. And this is stuff we can't dismiss. We're not going to just dismiss everything that Crawford has said, the contradictions, the things that don't make sense, to just blame it on Errol Spence. That doesn't make sense. Crawford says, I am not worried. I don't need Errol Spence Jr. So if he really feels like that, then it's shocking that you go to his fight and keep mentioning him. So, and then you're posting, we gonna show the world, and, you know, getting hype off the PBC graphic. Errol Spence has a lot of options. He could do a Sean Porter rematch. He could fight Pacquiao possibly. And, you know, he could do a tune-up style fight. You know, he could fight anybody, really. He can go to Texas and fight Jose Cito Lopez, fight you guys, right? A lot of options. Meanwhile, Crawford, not the same situation. Check out this video. Let me know how I did in this video. Drop your thoughts and comments on this whole situation. But Crawford has reacted. He says we're going to show the world. But first, Crawford, in my opinion, has to get his business in order to even make this a reality. You know, people keep bringing up Wilder and Fury. Wilder and Fury didn't have any roadblocks until the second fight, and that's just because Tyson Fury bailed out of an immediate rematch with Wilder and signed to Top Rank, and his broadcaster became ESPN. But they didn't have anything to do with the first fight, so we can't exclude the facts. Right now, as it sits, Terence Crawford's recent broadcaster has been ESPN, so that is an inherent roadblock since Errol Spence has been fighting on either Fox or Showtime. Unlike Wilder versus Fury, the first fight was a draw, so they kind of had to make that fight. And the first fight had nothing to do with Top Rank or ESPN, so they did what was right in coming together. But if Crawford, again, believes he's worth the lion's share of the money because of what he's done at 135 or 40 or 47 or whatnot, then I don't see them getting over that type of obstacle, because I'm pretty sure PBC and Errol Spence feel otherwise, that they are the A side. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
Body, you know what I mean? Everybody always coming at me, coming at my throat. They say, you know, I ain't fought nobody at the 147-pound division. Yeah. And I just be laughing, you know what I mean? Because everybody, the top welterweights in the divisions, you know what I mean, when they say they is. Who y'all got this weekend, Danny or Errol? My take, it's going to be a good fight. You know, you got two talented fighters fighting each other. But let's all be real for one moment. And everybody talking about they always, you know, they real and they know boxing. Well, let's be real. If you know boxing, why should we consider Danny Garcia a top welterweight in the division? Can somebody tell me that? And that's my boy, you know what I mean? I ain't hating on him or nothing. I just want to hear, you know, from the people. You know, I just want to see what people will allude to. Can anybody tell me why Danny Garcia is the top welterweight in the division? Nobody yet? Okay. I ain't mad at Danny. Danny my boy, man. I'm cool with Danny. I came up with Danny. I'm just speaking facts now. You know what I mean? I'm speaking facts. Because everybody, you know, always slamming my record, coming at my throat, saying this and that. So I got to give it back sometimes. You know what I mean? Let's be real. Danny ain't beat nobody in the welterweight division. He beat Paulie, Robert Guerrero, and everybody beat them, if you ask me. So if Errol beats Danny, I'm saying it's going to be a walk in the park, Danny can fight his ass off. That's why I consider him one of the top welterweights in the division. Not taking away his two close decision losses that he have. You know, I got him, you know, up there. But at the same time, if we going by what the media say, he's not a top welterweight. You know, he lost. He did his thing, but he lost. You know, given Terence Crawford case, you know what I mean? You can say what you want. I won the fights that I had to win, you know, against the guys that I had to win against. Errol Spence, you know what? He fought Kell Brook. He beat Kell Brook. You know, Sean Porter. Sean Porter ain't beat the top welterweight. Y'all claim. But in my eyes, Sean Porter didn't fought all the welterweights there is to fight, but Terence Crawford. Sean Porter is another one that, you know, came up short in a lot of fights. Well, a few fights. But he made them close. You know, Thurman, he fought quite a few welterweights in the division. But when we talking, you know, the number one guy in the division, you know, we gotta be talking about Terence Crawford, man. Moving up, doing my thing. Why would Spence about to fight Saturday? How me and Spence gonna fight? That don't even make sense. See, that's what I be talking about. That's what I be talking about. I want that fight though. That's one fight that I really want. Spence and Pacquiao. Them the two fights that I really want. That I really be looking forward to in the near future. I really want Spence just to show and shut everybody up and see what they're gonna say after that. Because I know it's gonna be a lot of excuses and bandwagon shipping. It's gonna be wild. You know what I mean? Like I didn't accomplish way more than he accomplished in his little career. You know what I mean? So
little career.
I don't care. I really like I told people I really don't care if that fight happened or not no more. I used to be all up on that fight. You know what I mean? But the way things have been going these last couple of years, it just rubbed off on me. I don't care about it no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we fight, we fight. If we don't, we don't. I'm not the one that is the reason why it didn't happen. And I'm not the one that they say, oh, well, you need Spence. Why would I need Spence? Why would I need Spence? A lot of people say I need Spence. I don't need Spence. The fans want Spence.
But I haven't heard that one that you need him. I mean, I just think that's a great fight for both of y'all.
That's all I hear. That's all I hear. A lot of people.
What you say?
People be like,
for
he
real?
needs Spence. A lot of people be like, he needs Spence. I don't need Spence. You know what I mean? What have Spence accomplished in his career that I haven't, or more? What have he accomplished? You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm considered the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, because all of my accolades and my numbers speak for itself. I already said I want Spence.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But that fight not going to happen because he already talking a 60-40 deal. And if it ain't 60-40 in my favor, then that fight is not going to happen. Period.
Okay.
Errol, great performance. I know you already talked about getting back to the ranch, very understandable. But what did you think of Terence showing up ringside? Do you think that helps build some buzz to make it a big fight?
No. I mean, he got to live up to his words. If he say he's not worried about me, then I don't know why he doing what he was doing here. I probably wouldn't go to none of his fights, so I'm not worried about Terence Crawford. Like I said, I'm going to enjoy my time with my kids and chill out and just reflect on this year and a half that, you know, I came back and, you know, we're going to move on in the summertime and see who I fight. So we'll see. I got to talk to my manager, Al Heyman, and we'll go from there.
And as far as what you see moving forward for the future, obviously everyone's talking about Terence Crawford. Is that a legitimate chance of happening, or do you guys feel like you're miles and miles apart?
I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about, you know, seeing my kids tomorrow and chilling on my ranch and finally riding my horses after 10, 12 weeks and, you know, just chilling out and eating some good food. So we'll see what holds in the future. But right now, you know, it's to enjoy myself. I had a long year and a half, you know, to come back and, you know, work hard, train hard, and just was 120% focused. and I'm gonna wind down for like a week or two till I get back on the ball.
But let's be real, man. Spence only really fought one guy, Kell Brook, and Kell Brook only fought one guy. You know what I mean? And that was Sean Porter. And Danny Garcia only fought two guys. Well, really one. I don't know, man. I'm different. I just look at, you know what I mean? Like, what have you done? Or what have they done that's so different than me? And they've been in this division longer than me. They fought each other. Okay. So since they fought each other, that makes them, so if I beat Aegis, that makes him a top welterweight then. If I beat, but Jeff Horn was considered one of the biggest welterweights in the division. He never lost in the division. Tell me, then. Yeah. So everybody that I fought should be in the top 6, 7. I'm just throwing it out there because I guess if they fight each other, then all of them considered in the top, whatever, they top welterweights because they get to fight each other. But what about the person that lose? He's still ranked high? I don't get it. Somebody got to help me get it. Because every fight that I done fought, except the Khan fight, everybody was just like, man, you going to whitewash Khan. But every fight that I done fought in the welterweight division, everybody was like, man, you going to lose. You too small.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.